I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey and we're still in round 2 of the World Team Carcassonne Online Championship 2024 as Team Slovakia will be looking to secure its first win against Team Chile. Team Chile will probably be the favorite. They have been improving their game quite a lot. They have been getting quite unlucky in the previous years, but they have new players, they have new high-rated players, and in particular, on Table 1, they have the 2023 Mindsports Olympiad winner Horim Meja with the screen name Vineria, who will be playing the highest-rated Slovak player, that will be Matej Tabak with the screen name Mate11, and we will be focusing our eyes almost entirely on this battle on Table 1. The reason for that is that not only it is a clash between two strong players, but also these are different eras, different schools of thought. Mate has been in Carcassonne for over a decade now, and he has stayed on top for a long time. Maybe he took a little break from Carcassonne, but he was, I think, second and third and fourth multiple times in the in-person World Championship, so didn't quite come close to well, he came close, but didn't quite manage to convert his advantage over other players to become the world champion. And I believe it was Martin Mojžíš, the Czech player, who was his arch nemesis, sort of speaking, but definitely has stayed on top of his game for a long time. And his main strength is field play. He knows how to drop early farmers, how to find all these fields connection points. He also performed quite strongly in the Carcassonne Champions League back in February, reaching the quarterfinals by a stunning upset over Otto Ikonen of Finland, until he didn't win the quarterfinal, but still very, very strong performance. And Horim Meja, of course, his deep run in the Mindsports Olympiad 2023 is still memorable. His style is a little bit different. He's not so big on fields, but he is very skilled at blocking. And this will be a clash of styles, a clash of Carcassonne eras, and a clash of continents as well. Slovakia from Europe and Chile from South America, they actually are having a good season. They came second in the Championship of the Americas in Copa America, losing only to Brazil in the finals. All right, so Edgar is saying that Horim versus Mate will be the key duel. As for the other duels, I mean, some of them have clear advantage for Chile, but some of them could go either way. So another strong player from Slovakia, they play with the screen name Radohu, and for Chile, probably the second strongest player after Vanir would be Claudio Jorquera. And I would expect for those two players to win, but what happens on other tables, well, everything could happen. It is now already 2000 UTC, and so the game is about to start soon. You can see here the tournament situation. Only one game has passed. Chile and Slovakia, very similar in fourth and fifth, are going to overtake Croatia in third once somebody of them wins. So we're gonna go and watch Vineria now. Wait, I know he has like two accounts, one Vineria and one Virinia, and I don't like that one bit. There must be some reasons for this. Also, like, don't look at this 471 rating. It ain't no mean nothing. He just likes to play some casual games. He plays easily at a level of like 650 at the very least. Hi Nalaheim, hi Edgar. Well, we might have a look at somebody else. Just for starters, just for a tiny bit. Tiny bit. Because Radojo's already playing. No, he's not. Well, the players against Felipe Tejo. What else do we have? Who is Matisek from Slovakia playing against? They are playing against A new Chilean player with screen name Nko. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but I am completely unfamiliar with this player who is rated well in his mid-50s, so we might actually start with that. But we will keeping an eye on Vainire because I really want to make this the center of our attention this evening. Alrighty. Matisek. Thinking on what I would say is an obvious move, so neither of the players have scored points yet. The Chilean is playing with the red meeples to match the Chilean flag, obviously. Ooh, I should change the colors of the scoreboard as well to match the Chilean flag. That was a bit sloppy on my part. There we go. Red for Chile and blue for Slovakia, even though all the colors on both countries are the same. So, somebody lost his internet connection, but this is very unfortunate because a minute from now, Matisek will actually lose this game. The rules of the game are brutal in this World Championship. If you lose on time for any reason, even if your Wi-Fi is faulty, then you lose the game, and that's it. But luckily for Matisek, he, with a minute on the clock remaining, managed to draw. Well, he drew the tile before, but he managed to actually place the tile. Meeple a new point city, attempting to complete an 8-point city, but immediately the Chilean player manages to equalize the city. So a slight advantage for the Chilean as a result of this open city cap, but a great tile for Matisek. And a great monastery placement as well, controlling his opponent's road, pre-building a 3-point road for himself. Lovely stuff here by the Slovak player. Presumably will now go over here, creating a vulnerability against the city and creating an attacking platform, possibly trying to take over a big city over here. And this move is on the board, which is why the Slovak player immediately connects to the city and leaves this little piece outside. Now it's an interesting position here for Matisek, because if he goes over here, it will give him score points in a meeple bag, but it also creates a connection platform for Nko, which could be used very, very soon. You know, if he gets a city cap and then a triple city and then a triangle, then suddenly all of this city will belong to the Chilean player. But he draws a road tile, which he uses to connect to Green's road and drop a farmer of his own. And now the Chilean player will need to show who they really are. Do they like to play big features, or do they like to play small ball? And he chooses to play big features, trying to connect to the shared city, trying to take it over, which is why Nko immediately equalizes it. But this should favor the the Slovak player actually a little bit, because the Slovak player has a greater meeple advantage, 2 versus 1, 4 points on the scoreboard, and he could do something nasty with those meeples. Both parties have already managed to drop a farmer. Red is now on the scoreboard, scoring 3 points for the road, but Matisek gets some compensation because 1 extra monastery point is added in the process. This is a lovely monastery. Now he might think whether he wants to go over here and create a threat against the city. If I were the Slovak player, I would have go over here or over here. First of all, trying to build up this monastery, but instead he chooses to complete the fields connection first, unifying these 2 fields. Nko getting a fantastic tile that allows him to get a meeple back, 4 points on the scoreboard, and maybe even meepling this 3-point road. He might leave this empty. It's very difficult actually to say which move is correct. Chooses to go for more aggression, which I can't blame him for. Matisek immediately equalizes. Also, do we have any Slovaks in the chat? I will be curious. Also, who's rooting for Chile and who's rooting for Slovakia? I need to know. Ooh, this road monastery. It's an interesting situation here because there was an alternative road monastery which Matysiak could have played. I don't think we have quite the time to go into it. But I pretty much like what he did. Also, like, these days, I try to be a bit of a more gentle commentator and, like, leave the roast for the really blatant mistakes, you know? Those situations where one move is slightly better than the other, I sort of let it slide. So now, a bit of an interesting decision here for Matysiak to meeple this 1-point road. Actually, I rather like it. I know that some of my viewers don't. But there is an idea behind this move. The idea is basically to control the only road end which is currently in play. So it does give marginal value. It could be argued that the value is too marginal for Matysiak to bother. Well, now obviously he needs to go here. He needs to get out this 1-point meeple out of harm's way. But he might actually consider going here and dropping a farmer on this little piece of land, hoping to get a road and another tile to get to connect over here. Okay, now finally we witness like a grave mistake, like a mistake beyond belief. So this meeple is so vulnerable, and Matysiak choose not to say this, probably because he just knew. Like, look at this what happens. Nko, okay, almost completely block this meeple because this dagger and this dagger, two of the tiles that would have fit in the square, have already been gone out. And so there was only one tile remaining that fit into this square, and yet Matysiak drew one immediately. A 2% chance of that happening, and he gets it. Sure, why not? Why not? I mean, he must know something about the tile runout that I don't. Probably running some code that makes it happen. Hi, Misozak from Turnova. Okay, tell me, what's the correct pronunciation? Matysiak or Matysiak? Is it a S or a Sh? Nko, now starting a new city, trying to maybe take over the shared city over here. There's still plenty of triple city tiles left and plenty of Dorito tiles left to make sure that all of this construction gets unified and Nko gets a lovely juicy piece of that. But Matysiak just in time manages to close the shared city and put a little bit pressure on this square, make it slightly harder to complete the city cap. But of course the most important part of this move was simply to get these meeples out of harm's way, just making sure that red doesn't draw the Dorito, doesn't draw something like this, for example, and doesn't manage to take over the city. In the meantime, the Slovak player was trying to abuse the Chilean road a little bit, and it is sort of kind of working because he is now one tile away from completing blocking the square. If he gets a city plus field tile, let's say like a regular, like this one, yeah, he should block right now. He should go count. Actually, no. Yeah, he can't really do like all that much. I mean, he probably should go over here and face with a city tile over here, simply to delay Nko from getting his meeple back. There will still be 2 daggers remaining in the deck, but actually it is very annoying to stay over the road like this, waiting for one of the 2 tiles. And the Slovak player recognizes this, but he also chose to meeple this unappealing looking ruin, which I'm not a fan of one bit. Well, luckily for him, he gets a meeple back immediately because this tile has to go over here. I will flip out if he doesn't get his meeple back here because he needs meeples and this road is vulnerable. But who knows, with 5 points behind on the scoreboard, maybe the Slovak player feels like living on the edge. Okay, not she. Thank you again. Hi, Glavier. Okay, so 4 more points to Slovakia, -1 point and -1 meeple. It's actually a good position for green here, as he gets a monastery tile for which he has a good use. He could put it over here for sure, for 4 points. Building it like this. Actually, I wouldn't do this. I think I'd rather put it over here. Controlling these roads, controlling this square. And yeah, I think it's a strong move here. So you put a monastery like this. Red is stuck here with 3 points. Red will force to go over here and over here to get his meeple back, giving us monastery points in the process. Then, Matisek will go over here with a curve and connect to the road, and it's something he's planning to do anyway, so it's not like it matters that much. Now a difficult position as Nko chooses to use such a valuable tile as a blocking tile. He chooses not to start a new city, but he chooses to create the threat of drawing something like a triple city tile or a Dorito tile, going over here, blocking the square, connecting this meeple to this square, so tying the fate of 2 meeples to 1, and this is why I like the move from the Slovak player over here, how he chooses to save the square for a 50-50 chance of getting his meeple back. There's still 1 road monastery that remains to fit into the square, and of course still plenty of city caps to get his meeple back over here. Even if he doesn't get this road monastery tile, he can still survive by getting meeple over here and then maybe picking up some empty city caps, and he's going to be just fine. But if he manages to get the monastery with the road, he will be super happy because the payout is huge. But the payout huge is also for the Chilean player, as he finishes the city and drops a farmer on the 6-point field, which is only 2 squares away from the main field. Which is why Matisek needs urgently to draw something like a Dorito tile or a triple city tile to build some barricades around this field. Otherwise, this farmer will sneak all the way through here and gain a majority in this field, and this will be a serious problem for the Slovak player, as this field is big. It has 5 completed cities on it. It is worth already 15 points, and it will get only bigger and bigger and bigger. As all of this was happening, a few moves ago, Ko drew one of the 2 tiles remaining to complete his 6-point road and decided to equalize Green's ruin. And an extremely painful move here for Matisek, as he had a tile in hand that would have fit into the square, but Nko skillfully placed this straight line next to his city, making sure that there's only 1 tile remaining in the entire deck, this dagger tile pointing to the right that's left for completing the city, because 1, 2, these tiles are here. And Matisek now decides to drop his last meeple, which is a foolhardy enterprise, if you'll ask me. He gets immediately punished as Nko decides to connect to his city. Matisek was just drew the tile to get his meeple back, but he's not gonna, at least not with this tile. And I can't even recommend a good move to him, and it certainly looks like a painful situation. There's only 1 tile that's left to fit into this square. There's only 1 tile that's left to fit into this square, and even so, a blocking platform is now open, which Nko will probably now use over here. Go over here, make sure that there is no tile to fit into this square, and now this meeple is completely trapped. If you ask me, this position for Matisek is probably lost, but anybody would have to fight back, any self-respecting Carcassonne player. Nko gets 4 points for the city. There's still a way how Matisek can win. Step 1, get this meeple back. Step 2, get the road monastery and score 2 points and get this meeple back. Step 3, get something like a triple city with a road, go over here, score points, then get a curve, plug in the curve over here, block this square, making sure that this red meeple never reaches the main field. And then have 1 meeple in hand, wait until the end of the game, and then at the very, very last moment, find a good way to swoop in to the field. Maybe over here, one could drop a farmer, but it will be much harder as Mko plays a great move, getting 2 points over here and getting much, much, much closer to completing the connection of this field. The Slovak player is not gonna block this field's connection, this move, because it's not physically possible. So he might just have to drop this tile near his monastery somewhere, but he also doesn't want to do that because he doesn't want to block the square. So I'm going to presume that a city move is in order, and this is exactly what we see. Matisek actually was protecting the square because one of the dividers is still remaining, and if he draws a splitter early enough, he could get 8 points and a meeple back, splitting off from this city piece. And if now Matisek goes over here, he could try impede the development of the square a little bit and then maybe put some further pressure by getting his meeple back, and maybe that way he could get into the game. But of course he decides to do something else. He decides to go over here, but it cost him dearly. As, like a thorn, this piece of road is plugging into the square, and it is another square which is blocked. Matisek is blocked with just 3 points, whether it's the trapped meeple of the Chilean player has 4 points, and still the potential of developing for a mini battle, let alone the 17 point scoreboard lead and the meeple advantage. Grim situation for the Slovak player. So I might gradually start looking at Vineria's game, because this one's look like it will be very, very hard to deal with. And look at this, we have the complete opposite position in the game between Vineria and Mate 11. Mate 11 is also known one of the fastest players on Board Game Arena. He was, I think, the 5th fastest or something like this in the entire championship last year. He also played in last year's championship too, just making these incredibly quick moves. And Vineria, not exactly known for taking his time, but well, takes more time than his opponent for sure. So we're going to sort of navigate between these two positions, and Matisek suddenly gets a meeple back, but he will still need to fight hard to try to actually do something about Nko's 20-point scoreboard lead. Maybe going over here and dropping farmer seems a few moves premature, but he will need to do something like this. Maybe going over here, that's actually would be a good idea, hoping in the future to draw a city tile and then try to connect like this through a straight line. So it's all should be possible. And now this is exactly where the Slovak player should take a little bit more time, which he does. Still 2 minutes remaining. We're playing rather friendly time format for those people who like to think a little bit more. So for those players who care about actually trying to win the game and play good moves, and it seems that Matisek is one of them. He decides to drop a farmer, but immediately Nko gets a tile with which all his efforts can be thwarted. He can go over here and drop a counter farmer, which is exactly what he does. Super wise move. And just as the Slovak player was about to connect over here and complete the field's connection, it becomes useless, because if he places this tile over here, this will not only bring this green meeple, this will also bring this red meeple. So excellent timing and excellent spatial vision from the Chilean player, proving why they have already achieved such an expert rating. And the final nail in the coffin of the hopes of the Slovak fans for this game. 2 points for road, but most importantly, getting the 6-point farmer into the main field. Now red has a 2 versus 1 majority in this field, which means that red has full undivided control of 6 cities on this farm, giving red 18 points, and Matisek cannot do anything about this, because to rub it in, This was also one of the tiles that Matysek needed to get this meeple back, and Matysek is not getting a meeple back in this game as Nko scores some quick points, and Matysek can only increase his score by a couple of points, so we're going to see this game end soon enough, as Vainir is also about to place his last tile. Chose not to attack this city at the bottom because he realized that there were no city caps remaining. So very nice calculation here by Vanira using his time, and it looks like it is about to pay off. We are going to see how the points are counted in this game, and we're going to see how the points are counted in the next game as well. Trying to multitask here. Oh, I like the sound effects, how they're like how they stack on one another. Jorim taking the first big point. Well, not the first little point for... Wait, is he taking the first little point? No, he isn't, because Mate is controlling the small farm. Oh, it's going to be incredibly close. It's going to be incredibly close, but it is in fact Mate Tabak who takes this game with a 5-point difference. So this is looking good for Slovakia. And of course, 40-point difference. Let's just have a look at the final situation very quick. Lots of blocked meeples here and here and here and here for the Slovak player, and without meeples you can't score points, which is why Matysek ended with 41 fewer points than his opponent. We'll update the scoreboard shortly, but in the meantime we'll jump in right into the second game of Mate versus Vainiria. So it will be the Chilean player to start with a tube-shaped extender, gaining slight advantage in this game, starting a new city. Mate making a mistake. What? With such experience, the first move a mistake, the correct response is to go over here and to attack the city. I am shell-shocked. I mean, it may not seem like a big deal for my viewers who are newer players, and it's like a slight mistake, but it's an opening that, like, after thousands and thousands of game of experience, you have to know. I'm so surprised. And also he left like an open city cap over here, but he's not getting punished for it because he's the first one on the scoreboard. Well, Vainiria has a chance to equalize him on the scoreboard if he manages to go over here, protect his city from invasion, and just draw a city tile soon enough, but it's not happening right now. However, he can try and start inflicting some damage by going over here and trying to block this meeple, but Mate immediately defends. Now there are 3 tiles remaining that fit into this square, making it for an 88-something% chance probability of getting this meeple back, which is why Vainiria doesn't even bother hoping that he's going to draw all 3 tiles. He simply chooses to meeple this road preemptively and making sure that when red gets his 4 points and a meeple back, then red will have this nice 6-point road as a result. Vainiria decides to split off away from Mate's road as Mate chooses to attack, and also Mate is the first one to draw the first monastery. Wow. Suddenly a huge advantage for the Slovak player. This monastery is a game changer. And at the moment, well, we're going to see how the tension with the upper 2 cities resolve, but the position of the Chilean player is just miserable. I would have to say through no fault of his own. Jorim thinking what to do with this difficult to place tile. Not an appealing city to place a meeple on, so I prefer just discarding it somewhere over here. But actually placing it over here is a bad move, because it removes 2 monastery spots. I think it's a mistake, because if anybody of these players gets a monastery, then there are only 2 squares where a monastery can fit, here and here. And both of these squares don't favor red. Mate completes yet another city. 4 points on the scoreboard, 10 points in total. Vanir is still at 0. Start a new city. There's still 2 tiles that fit into this square, which is why Mate will probably try and attack the square further, as he should. And Vanir does not get a defense tile. He's probably going to go over here, continuing his city. But this square is still super vulnerable, and Mate is now only 1 tile away from placing something like this and blocking it. Does Mate draw this tile? And he does. He is not in a rush to finish his monastery. He needs to block the square first, and it is a huge strategic gain for the Slovak player, as this meeple will be capped at 5 points. It will never go back to Vineria's hand, and pain and suffering is what I see for these road meeples in the near future. Sure, the 8 points on the scoreboard will help, but Mate immediately gets 1 more and even drops a second farmer. He's going to be trying to develop a big field. That's certainly a strategy that he has used quite a lot. Vineria gets a nice city tile, which should go over here, trying to thwart the development of Mate's field. But knowing Vineria's style, I think he's actually going to go over here with a road element of the city facing. Yes, exactly. Called it. This is not what I would have played, but this is a legit move. And actually, I like it quite a bit. So I think his idea is that he hopes to go over here, then place something over here and block this farmer and keep this field very, very small. But Mate now finds a good monastery placement, and he hopes to get a straight line and meeple this road, and then have a lot of green squares for himself where to build new cities on. Vineria with a... Whoa! That's a gutsy move. He decides to fight for the field, but I actually don't like this one bit strategically, because Vineria was doing so well restricting the field. But then why do you need to restrict the field if you're going to fight it anyway? Or why do you need to fight for the field which you're going to be restricting anyway? Mate, I think, making now a little bit of a mistake. I think this tile should have gone a bit somewhere here, but Vineria now blocking this monastery and also blocking his own road. I'm not sure what's that about. Both players are starting to make some surprising moves. I wonder why Vineria didn't block this blue meeple instead. So at first, I think the Chilean player was playing this excellently, but this farmer and this blocking move is straying from the strategic path, because again, Vineria does not want to have big fields because he's at a meeple disadvantage. This blocked meeple will only be acceptable if the position stays closed. Well, and there were so many ways to close down this position. For example, placing a curve over here, it just makes city building prospects so much harder. Well, probably here is the move, trying to reduce the number of tiles that fit into the square to just 2, but Mate gets the first road tile, gets 6 points for the road, 1 point for the monastery, and a huge advantage with that. So a bit of an unnecessary gamble if you asked me. I was quite critical of Mate at the start for missing a very well-known opening move. Just like a surprising gap in theory knowledge, but it doesn't seem to cost him because, okay, you can make one mistake, but if you're good at the rest of the game, you're good to go. So it's not like Blue was immediately lost or anything. Blue is doing just fine with 2 farmers and a monastery. Vineria taking 2 points, making it much harder for Mate to get this meeple back. But his scoreboard lead is so big that I don't think he's going to care that much. Slight mistake from Mate. It was actually stronger to take 2 points here than here. The reason for this is that if Mate draws a starting tile, he will not be able to take advantage from the city cap because he needs a starting tile already here to take this meeple back. That's why it was better to point the city cap over here, waiting for a splitter tile to score 4 points over here like this. But this is a very subtle moment, but this all adds up. So also Mate's mistake with a bit of a questionable block backfires as Vineria is able to complete a 14-point city and take a meeple back, and now he'll be able to fight for this game. But earlier on, even though he's now much closer to equalizing this position, I'm still extremely critical of this move, not only because it gives away this 6-point road, but also because it legitimizes these 2 farmers. These 2 farmers are scoring only 6 points, which is like 3 points per meeple, which is nothing. But after Red added the meeple to the farm, this effectively burns Red meeple because Red is still at 1 versus 2 minority in farmers. And look at this. Red now decided to drop yet another farmer and connect over here. Yeah, so the field was going to get bigger as a result, so it sort of legitimizes the initial dubious placement of Blue, and I think by fighting for the field early on, Red loses flexibility from his strategy. Well, Red draws one of the 2 remaining starting tiles that would fit into this square, so Mate is very close to getting his meeple block completely, in which case the tides are going to turn and I'm going to start preferring Red. Because if you think about this field controlled by Blue is worth 6 points, and this field controlled by Red is also worth 6 points. So actually there's no real incentive to unify these 2 fields, which is why I immensely dislike this move by Vineria. It was much better to go and score 2 points over here, putting pressure on this road, because Mate wants to get this meeple back by completing his road, and Vineria should try and start preventing him from doing so. So I think a massive, massive oversight here from the Chilean player, and I think this is because he is playing simply too fast. But this is a psychological thing that Mate did to so many opponents. This is how last year, in the match between Slovakia and Japan, Mate managed to defeat the Japanese master Shud, who I think is an incredibly strong player objectively. But this was due to time management. Mate played so quickly that it kind of enticed the Japanese player to play much quicker than he normally would, which led the Vineria gets 2 points again, not in the place where I would get them. Mate blocking a city cap just as Vineria was going to go over here and take the 4 points for that city cap. So a strong move from Mate with a tile which otherwise didn't have good use for them. Oh, Misozaki is suggesting that this farmer was a misclick from Vineria. Yeah, that makes more sense, because it makes much more sense strategically for Red to place a farmer over here on the a road meeple on this road, and meeple the 6-point road. But also, like, the reason why I'm not 100% positive that was a misclick is because I know that Vineria sometimes makes these moves. He sometimes like overcommits on farms, and I think that was legit. I think he meant it. I think it was not a misclick. I'll be curious to ask him after the game. Well, well, well. Vineria is now dropping yet another farmer to try and fight for this 6-point field. Come on, it's not a big field. He now gets 4 points for the road as he draws the last remaining starting tile, so this meeple is now completely dead. Mate scores 2 quick points. Of course, he's not willing to unify these two farms because red might take over the entire farm. Smart play for Mate, but I prefer Vineria's position now as he has simply more points on the board. On the scoreboard, I mean. Well, an easy move from Vineri, it seems, to go over here and to defend the square. Because there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 curves remaining that fit here. This is, of course, something that Chorim would need to recount, and he does, and that's why he goes over there. Don't drop a farmer. It's not a good idea. The field is worth 6 points and it's being fought with 4 meeples in total. Like, what is happening with these farms? It's farmlands is so valuable as if we're in Hong Kong. We're not in Hong Kong. Chile is like 6,000 kilometers long. They have plenty of land. Ooh, you said Vaneria said something in the game check. Oops, oh, so it was indeed the misclick. Wow, so okay, so Vaneria was indeed trying to meeple this road, which makes now much more sense. And, oh, he initially didn't understand that this was a misclick, but great credit to Vaneria as he managed to adjust to the misclick and said, okay, I messed up, I dropped a farmer, now I need to drop even more farmers to justify my misclick. This is how you play Carcassonne. Like, don't give up. Excellent sportsmanship here, and like excellent resilience here from Vineria. As Vineria meeples this ruin, Mate is very close to completing this 10-point city, which is why Vineria should go here and complete it for completing himself, if there is a city cap remaining. So tile counting goes before everything. Hi Ruben, hi Pichan. 7 tiles remaining to play in this game. Vineria needs to decide whether it's better to score 1 point over here or simply to go over here to prevent Mate from taking this 10-point city, this 12-point city. And he decides that there's still 1 city cap remaining, and so he very wisely prevents Mate from completing such a big city, but Mate still successfully completes a small city, but Vineria finally draws a curve and manages to equalize this 6-point farm, fought with 4 meeples. Oh dear lord. Oof. These players don't fail to entertain. But well. This farmer is kind of blocked. That's a problem because there's no tile that fits into this square. And this red farmer is scoring 6 points. And this road is scoring 3 points versus 2. So that's 1. Okay, let me think about this. 11, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I counted that Vineria is currently at +7, if I'm not mistaken. Or +10. I forgot. But I think it's a big difference because there's a 9-point field over here, and Martina was going to score quick points here, and it all depends on whether Mate will be able to draw a road tile and score points here. But Mate doesn't, and he also misses. He scores a 5-point monastery instead of a 6-point field. What is that? There's a 6-point field at the bottom. Easiest 6 points ever. That's why you think more than 0 seconds per move. I believe that the Vineria should have the second game for a couple of points. Certainly a roller coaster ride, and Okay, this field, a 6-point field, which has been fought for with 4 meeples, that has to go in the like curiosities of the week. Somebody clip this. I've never seen agriculture so valued these days. Well, yeah, so 6 points extra for Vineria as a result of that field, and great performance by the Chilean player. Of course, I criticized him for that move, not realizing that that's a misclick. Now that I know that's a misclick, it makes sense, because this move would be bad. But he managed to climb out of this position, not give up, and then basically double down on the farm fight, which he didn't intend. And he got these valuable teeth, 6 points with fighting this farm with his teeth. And as a result, he has a 6 points advantage, exactly as many points as this little farm is worth. I'm so happy we witnessed this game. Yes, Glovier, equalizing a 6-point farm is a concept that is indeed hard to comprehend, but this is what Carcassonne is sometimes. Actually, now yeah, that's a good point. So there was a more precise way to block this city, but it is possible that Vineria was not fully aware of all the tiles remaining and just went for the move which seemed safer in his mind. Oh, KK Spam is saying that last year there was a move of the week. Honestly, this, yeah, I love that series. But I don't think this week I'll be able to commit to one, because there's just so many videos in the pipeline, both about the Carcassonne Championship and about the Azul Championship that just happened, that I don't think I'll be able to make a move of the week, or blunder of the week for that matter. It's just simply, unfortunately, too much work. Maybe next year, maybe when I get more efficient at this, but we have no time, because I would want to check some of the results. Let's see how Matisek is doing for now, and let's see some of the other players. Well, actually, no. I want to go and look at Vineria straight away. This is too entertaining. Just focus on one duel. They have already started. And Vineria has already managed to score 4 points, but Mate gets a lovely tile to score 8 points for the city and drops a very early farmer. Vineria adding a couple of points to his city, securing it, making it closer to completion. And now Mate expands his farm. Vineria now has a very strong move. He should go here. I'm pretty sure he's going to see it. Just make Mate's farmer much smaller and disrupt this road. That's a nasty move, and he finds it. He might even meeple this road, but I think it could wait. Mate, 2 points for the road. Vineria gets a dagger tile, which is used immediately to get 6 points on the scoreboard and a meeple back for the city on the right. Now we're continuing. Mate finishes another city and starts a new one. 4 extra points on the board for the Slovak player. Vineria gets an excellent tile. Oh, this is going to be so painful. I believe the Chilean player, this may have well been just the winning move for the entire country of Chile, because it's so painful. First of all, it just really limits the prospects of this field, because there are really not many green squares where Mate could build, but also it makes it almost impossible for blue to complete this little city piece, because there are no dividers left with which blue could get out of harm's way with something like this. So he's going to need to get a Dorito tile to connect to this piece, and then afterwards he's going to need to get one of the 2 remaining starting tiles if that square is not blocked, but it will get blocked. And look at this, Vineria not fighting for this 6-point field this time, because he's not going to misclick this time. He's starting a counter field, a better field in a different part of the board, which is worth already 9 points. Now this tile is going to go over here, and a lot of pain is going to be inflicted on the Slovak player. Okay, Horim is thinking, which is not a good sign, because I thought for a second that he might be considering some other move than this. But he chooses to not go crazy and just play a normal move, which is a good idea. Mate continues his road. Vineria, with a crossroad tile, simply gets 2 points for a road and gets Mate's and Vineria's meeples back, spicing it up a little bit with a larger meeple count. Hi Ramses. See that most of my... No, actually it's 50-50. I know some of my viewers are fanning for Slovakia and some are fanning for Chile, rooting for Chile, but Vineria gets such a beautiful tile, which makes rooting for Chile much easier. Going over here, finishing a city, probably dropping a farmer. Might have second thoughts about the farmer, but it really is a matter of taste. Actually, no, it isn't. A farmer is good in that position. He will drop it. Yep. Simply to secure his 12-point field. He's now 14 points ahead on the scoreboard, and Mate just drops farmers like it's nothing. Well, there might be some intention behind this farmer, and also Mate actually justified this 9-point field, so that's good for him, but 8-point monastery negates this 9-point field, and also Vineria actually might get a tile that goes here. And Vineria has an incredibly strong move that he could play. I don't know if he's going to find it. So the move is to go here and meeple the triangle city in this awkward position. And it does several things. First of all, it makes it much easier for red to complete this monastery with another monastery and get a boatload of points. Second, it impedes the development of this road. No, I mean, yes, you could do that, but it's not as good as meepling the city cap. As meepling the Dorito. So he got the right spatial idea. But the reason why it was much better to meeple the Dorito than meepling the land is because this farmer from Mate might still get into the field, whereas Vineria already has 2 other farmers tangled up in another parts of the board, so it is not in the Chilean player's interest to engage in any further field fights. But I mean, he's getting away with that. I think his plan is actually to get another Dorito and place it over here. Well, he's gonna do that. I know he's gonna do that. And the plan is just to simply shield the shared 9-point field from this farmer. He might actually also do something like this. He might also go here and meeple this city, which also works too, but no. Well, I mean, it makes sense. You can do that sort of, kind of. I think his idea is that he really wants to prevent blue from finishing his city, which sort of makes sense, but then red is ahead and red is giving blue chances to get back into this game. This is a juicy 7-point monastery spot. 2 tiles can go in here just like this. Then Mate gets a monastery, gets 9 points in a meeple bag, gets access to this field, gets 12 points for the farmer, covers up, gets another monastery, gets a road meeple back, and then he just back into the game just like that. So I do think that the Chilean player is playing with fire, even though this move pays off in the short term, as Mate is unable to finish this city. But instead he uses the starting tile to continue his road, which is incredibly risky because Vineria could draw just a curved tile, place it over here, and block this guy by blocking the square over here. But Vineria does not get a curve, So he'll really need to decide what to do with this tile. Not the easiest decision ever. But I think something like this, maybe? Simply blocking this square. So normally, it would be a good idea to claim the city, but actually in this position, it is not a good idea, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the city caps that go into that square are gone, and all the dividers are also gone. So actually, even though this looks like an 8-point city about to happen, there is no 8-point city that's going to happen here, because all of the tiles that could make an 8-point city have already been used up. And this is what makes this position so interesting. The large amount of field city caps that have already been used, and the large number of monasteries still remaining, the large number of crossroads still remaining. So it's a very, very non-typical tile runout. Joao is saying that Vainiri is always going for the risk. It's his playing style. Well, that's why we're watching this duel over all the other ones. Vainiri chooses to meeple the city. Mate makes a beautiful move, choosing to continue his city at the top indirectly. Like, you should not underestimate how strong that move is, because this could give Mate like 5 extra points in the future once he gets a triple city with a road and then a quadruple city tile and something like this. This ruin could grow and grow and grow and grow. I'm mightily impressed by this find by the Slovak player. 37 seconds, 35 seconds remaining for the Chilean. 10 points ahead on the scoreboard, but over 2 minutes behind. Mate, with a curve, tries to block Vainiria's city, but it is easier said than done, because there are still 2 tiles remaining that fit into this square. This meeple is currently scoring 4 points, and this road meeple is currently scoring 6 points. So technically Vainiria is in a losing mini battle here with -2 points, but he has 2 tiles that fit into this square, which would give him a completed city for 10 points and a meeple back without actually giving Mate a meeple back. So this means that the Slovak player will need to spend 2 more moves, like here, wanting to complete this city. Vainiria with a brilliant block. He counted that there are no city tiles that's left to the square, and he decided to block this. What a great, great find by the Slovak. By the Chilean, sorry. 4 points for Vainiria for Loop Road. Mate is now trying desperately to create a blocking attempt over here. He can't, not with this tile. Instead, he connects together 2 of Vainiria's meeples, making sure that both of them score 12 points in total, which is 6 points per meeple, which is not a lot. Vainiria with a Dorito tile. Actually, I think he's going to be tempted to go over here, trying to connect all these farms and eat up this 6-point meeple from Mate, hoping to achieve a 2 versus 1 field majority in this overall field here. Vainiri might also go over here, taking 3 direct points and trying to create a vulnerability in this square. He could also go over here, trying to indirectly protect his city, which actually seems like a strong move as well. He could go over here and meeple a new city, but it is his last meeple, and it is not something that I would recommend, because he needs to keep a meeple intact in case he draws the monastery. So he does indeed go for the defensive move. He makes it harder for Mate to draw a blocking tile and to fit into the square, which is why Mate simply chooses to draw one of the 2 tiles that would have fit into the square and to use it for his own 4 points up top. Vainiria trying to connect these 2 fields, trying to eat up this blue meeple. Blue is unperturbed, simply scoring 9 points for the Monastery, giving Vineria a meeple back, but at least making sure that Vineria would not be able to score the 9 points himself. 14 points on the scoreboard extra for Vineria and 14 points and an extra meeple to play with. If you ask me, it's a very difficult situation to come back from if you are the Slovak player, but maybe like not completely impossible if you get a lot of quick point tiles. The main problem in Mate's position is the meeple count. You see, by dropping these farmers early, these 3 farmers early, whilst his city was already been blocked, he committed to 4 blocked meeples, and now 2 of his other meeples have been tied with mini battles with red, so they have been neutralized by red. Red sacrificed his meeple to kill off a blue meeple, and as a result, Mate is left with just 1 meeple for the entirety of the game, and 22 tiles is a lot of tiles to spend with only 1 meeple. The rule of thumb is that you want to have the number of meeples that you want to have in hand for a healthy game is the number of remaining tiles divided by 10. So with 20 tiles remaining, you want to be having 2 meeples in your hand, not 1. But not 3. If you're having 3, which means that you're usually being too conservative, like you need to start using those meeples as well. Mate gets 4 points for a city in his field. These cities are still technically not unified, and Mate is really hoping to draw a city tile and make sure that the square is blocked and this 12-point field stays separate from this 12-point field. Vineria takes 2 points for a road, and Mate manages to complete his block. This is a beautiful, beautiful move. And Vineria, I think, missed his chance to actually complete his plan of eating up this meeple, because there's only 1 tile that fits into the square now, and Vineria needs this tile over here anyway. So that is an unfortunate situation for the Chilean player to be in, and if there's anything that will let the Slovak player climb back into the game, it is precisely stuff like this. The veteran is being extremely resourceful, you gotta give him that. Elias is saying, why did Vineria not connect 2 moves before? Yes, indeed. So Vineria had this square, this tile remaining, which he could have used to place over here. But I think Vineria's idea was something, I can do this later. I'd rather do something else. But you know what? The situation is still good for the Chilean player, because this was a strong sequence that he managed. He managed to block the square, ensuring that Mate stays with just 1 point over here, whereas Vineria's blocked ruin is worth 7 points, and it has a further expansion potential in 2 directions. Vineria with a monastery tile. He actually might go over here and block his own city, simply to make sure that this farmer doesn't get into this field. Mate blocks the square, and Vineria kind of helped him. I think the idea is that Vineria decides that he actually wants to win without trying to do something about this field, and he simply wants to bring green squares. But actually, there's also the road monastery remaining, which would go over here, and which would unify these 2 farmers anyway. And I'm pretty sure that this is something that the Chilean player has thought about. Mate didn't have a good use for his previous tile. Now Vineria drew a scoring tile. Where will he place it? 2 potential points on the right for the city cap with a triple road. Interesting move from Vineria, and one which I'm not a fan of. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, if you want to be spectacular, as Vineri, you can go over here and drop a farmer and hope for the one of the two remaining straight lines that go over here and give you 4 points for the road and a farmer into this field, and this is exactly what he does. Except that he doesn't drop the farmer. What's the point in that move then, if you're not going to draw the farmer? I don't get this. Okay, Mate gets 2 points for the road, and he gets the all-important tile that goes here. So these farmers are not going to be invading this field anytime soon. But the reason why I actually like this farmer here so much is because this would give Vineria 3 game-winning tiles in total, 2 curves, plus a road monastery, and there was only a 5% chance of him not getting any of these 3 tiles at this stage of the game. Let me just double check the straight roads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I see 6 straight roads on the board, which means that there are still 2 straight roads remaining. So I know Vineria can sometimes be like a little bit artsy, shall we say. That's why I like watching his game so much. Like, he's always going to do something weird. So now he's thinking whether it's worth to finish his city. The answer is probably not. At this stage of the game, like, yeah, exactly. He just simply chose to take a 6-point road, but Mate doesn't have a good move. Vineria is just going to score 3 points over here. Mate is going to score 4 points over here. And I know Vineria is going to do something else. Like, take this road. Okay, fair enough. Mate 2 points over here. And both remaining tiles are straight lines. Vineria should... It's a matter of taste. Will you take 4 points over here or 4 points over here? I mean, it would have been such a good move with the farmer. But it is what it is. I think this should be still a win for the Chilean player due to his scoreboard leads, but maybe a closer one than it is necessary. Just need to remind you that this is the decider between these two games. Vineria decided to spend his last meeple to score 4 points, and Mate also scored 4 points just elsewhere, and now we will see the tiles being counted. Okay, Matesek won the second game against Nko, so that's interesting. These guys are going to be playing another decider. So far it's super tight, but Vineria winning a crucial duel. I think the... Wait, did Vineria even win? I think Vineria won. Yeah, Vineria won. Surely. With only 10 points, so it's not like that huge of advantage. Oh, not 10, more. So 13. Still, you have to give credit for Mate's resourcefulness trying to come back from this. But I think it's really all these early farmers which make the situation difficult for the Slovak player. Because he dropped this farmer. I mean, this farmer ended up being useful, scoring 9 points. But the main problem with that is that it forced him to build his cities in suboptimal ways. Because as this farm was shrinking, he was kind of forced to try and force these cities where they don't really belong, where maybe the city could have been better off somewhere else. For example, this city could have been better off here, trying to attack this square when Vineria was having a meeple over here, and so on. So the problem with early farmers is not just that these farms sometimes don't grow enough. The problem is that twofold. Well, first of all, you stay without meeples for a long time. And the second problem is that it just limits your possible strategies for the game because it's a very, very committal decision. Sometimes they work like a charm, but in this game they didn't, and the Chilean Mind Sports Olympiad gold medalist managed to take advantage of that beautifully, and with that Chile is getting on that match scoreboard, and Slovakia has some climbing to do. Matisek is playing a decider game against Nko, and we will have to look at that. Matisek doesn't have meeples, but has a lot of points. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This looks like an interesting position. We will check out other matches, but later. What is that? Okay. Slovak player, green meeples, 7 extra points to the scoreboard. He has a monastery which equals red monastery. He has his 6-point monastery which is unopposed. And he has these 2 city pieces which are about to get completed sometime soon. Now, the thing that I see is that there's only 1 tile remaining to fit into the square. So this monastery is not going to come back anytime soon. Nko is about to complete this 8-point city, which is why I think Matisek should try and connect. He should. Otherwise, horrible things might happen. Excellent move here by the Slovak player. But unfortunately for him, Nko draws the 1 remaining Dorito tile that fits into the square, and he ain't gonna put it there. Still, some hope for green, as he can get one of the 2 triple city tiles with a field that fit there. So what else are we having? Matisek has a good control of this main field for 12 points. And Nko was about to join in, but Matisek drew a farmer again, and he's going to rejoin. So 12 points are going to remain with green. This field... Oh, I'm hallucinating. This field is part of the bigger field. Oh, okay. Yeah, it does seem like green's going to have a tough life. Tough life. Very tough. You know why? Because green has only 3 farmers in total, but red has 4 farmers in total. Not yet, but this farmer is about to go here. This farmer is about to go here. And all of these farmers will be on the field and having a majority from Nko. So it looks like a difficult position to play. But what could happen that could make Matisek turn this around? Well, answer 1 is meeples. If he gets a city cap here, or if he gets a starting tile, that could work. He could get his monastery meeples back, and there are some starting tiles remaining. Also, Matisek drew a city cap, which would have fit into the square, meaning that this is not going to fit into the square, and Ko is not going to see this meeple anytime soon, or ever. So that's as good news for my Slovak fans. And once these meeples are drawn, well, it may be possible to drop another farmer and try to connect and even overtake this at some point. So maybe we draw a tile that fits into this square, and then we draw a city cap and drop a farmer, and then connect over here, and then drop a farmer here, connect with a curve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, still 1 curve remaining. But Unfortunately for Slovakia, one of the tiles that fits into this square has been drawn by Nko. Matisek with a monastery which he does not have a good use for. Actually, he does. Maybe here, trying to block the square is not the worst idea in the world. Great move, but a starting tile is being drawn by Nko, and this is extremely unfortunate because Matisek needed a starting tile over here. So it may be a time to YOLO and just go over here and hope to get a city cap to at least get some meeples back. He desperately needs meeples. Oh, this has to be extremely disappointing for Slovakia as Nko draws the third and the last tile that would have fit into the square, which means that this meeple will be forever trapped with 2 points, whereas this red meeple will get to enjoy 9 points. And a further blow to the Slavic hope is this blocking tile over here. And Matisek says, you know what, like, I don't even care about finishing these monasteries. I know there's one starting tile still remaining in the deck, but I just feel so hopeless that I'm not even going to get it. So instead, I'm going to try and pretend that I'm hopeless, but actually I want to draw two city caps, one that goes here and one that goes here, and get 12 points for a city and a meeple back. And this is a glimmer of hope for Slovakia. A glimmer. But 4 quick points from the city at the bottom go onto Nko's scoreboard, and finally the Chilean player manages to not only have a better position, but to also overtake Matisek on the scoreboard. Not the best tile run out for the Slovakian player, but all is not lost. Actually, it is. He needed to get a meeple back like right now, but now it's all she wrote. Thank you, Ramses, for confirming that Tito Arthek has won 2-0 against Carpenter 45, which gives Chile their second duel point. Also equalizing a 3-point farmer with a 6-point farmer. Chile is 2 tiles away from winning this match as Matisek draws yet another tile which does not give him a meeple back. I am eager to update the scoreboard in any case. Alrighty, and as predicted, Claudio Jorquera won 2-0 and Radojo won 2-0, so no surprises on these two tables. Well, with that, Chile has already officially won the match with 3 match points, but Slovakia will be having 1, and they did try to do what they needed to do. They made sure that their 2 top players were the ones that deliver Slovakia match points, and maybe a miracle could happen, something good could happen on one of the 3 remaining tables. Matisek came close, he just needed to draw some tiles to get a meeple back, but he did not, and he does not do so now either. The last tile in the deck should be a starting tile unless I'm hallucinating, and this is entirely possible because it is getting kind of late in the part of the world where I am. Maybe that's why Chile won, because it's a bit much earlier than in Chile, and in Slovakia it's late. In Slovakia it's like 11 p.m. No, I was correct. Nko did draw the last remaining tile that fit into the square for what's going to be an obscene score as he adds 1 more point to his city. We will witness the points counted, and this will be in fact the last game on the entire match. Matisek's monastery points are being tallied. They will not be a match for the big field. just as it seemed that the game was close, yeah, there's also this 21-point field in the center that Matisek did not have time to attack. And honestly, I really like how the Slovak player fought, because if only he just gets a starting tile earlier on, then he simply needs to connect to the field, like maybe from here, like this. And that's it. With tying the field, which this would have been more than enough for Matisek to win this game, but that didn't happen. And we congratulate Chile with their 4th match points. Also, and the win in this match. And by the way, this also means that a streamer curse is broken, because for the last couple of years it was so that whenever I would stream matches of Chile in the World Cup, Chile would always lose. But as you see, this is not the case. So no reason to look for coincidences any further. Oh, okay, so Jorquera won 2-1, not 2-0, so thank you for correcting that. Maybe I'm too trusting towards my viewers, but yeah, something like the other day, one of my viewers tried to troll me that his team won over the other team 5-0, and like for a second I actually believed him. I feel so deceived still. Well, some of y'all might have been there to witness that moment already. Before we talk about what's going to happen in tomorrow's streams and look over the tournament situation, I can finally congratulate Chile with a little surprise, and not really a surprise. Everybody knows what's going to happen. We are going to congratulate Chile musically. As usual, some technical things need to be set up before that can happen. Let me just do a little bit of that. Feel free to ask me any questions, preferably related to Carcassonne, whilst I'm setting up, which is going to take a couple of minutes. What's that about? Will of course take a bit longer than usual, but trust me, should be worth the wait. Okay, let's try again. It's a bit annoying how this works. It's something that is actually not possible to be prepared in advance, but it is what it is. Let me see what you're saying. Aladan is saying 9 players have played. I'm not sure what exactly that means. Let me just see what else you're saying. Oh, Joao was saying, referring to a famous game that happens with Vineria, the Portugal versus Chile WTCOC match that was on stream, which involved a lot of trash talk and a lot of high-level moves from Vineria. We all remember that game, or at least I do. Alright, I'm gonna try once again. And if not, I might have to do this without the camera. That would not be optimal. But it is what it is. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna try You know what we're gonna try? We're gonna try turning it on and off again. Because that's what I've been taught as the thing that works. KK Spam is asking which anthems of the WTCOC teams you haven't learned yet. There are a few. The South American ones are the hardest one. Actually, the Chile anthem was the hardest one to learn because it's the longest one. But it's happening, with the camera or not. All right. Let's go. We're getting closer. I think we're getting closer. Okay, try one more, try one more. I really want to make this work. Right, giving up. I think you're gonna have to hear that one without a camera. So yeah, but oh. Ah no, false hope. Never mind. Oh no, I got this! Unbelievable! Why does it take so long? This is so weird. Finally, I got this. Just checking the sound there as usual. Nope. There's gonna be still a massive delay with the camera. Massive delay. Wow, this is something else. This is so weird this would do that. So I can get the camera, but like it shows what was happening. Like many minutes ago. Alright, so it's gonna be without a camera after all. But to congratulate Team Chile on their first ever win on stream in World Cups against Team Slovakia, all rise for the national anthem of Chile. congratulations to Team Chile for this impressive win. Thank you for all of you who stuck around throughout the technical difficulties. And this is going to be it for a long day. Tomorrow I'll be just doing one mega stream of 4 back-to-back matches, starting with Germany, Peru at 15:50 UTC. That's 1 hour before London. I even forgot what the other matches are. It's just going to be a lot of high-level Carcassonne. Come in on this channel and observe what's going to happen. I'm also having a special guest for that one whom you haven't yet seen on stream for this World Cup. And what else? If you liked what you saw today, do make sure to meeple the like button to help with the algorithm so that more people find out about competitive Carcassonne in general and this World Cup in particular. Make sure to subscribe and also click the notification bell icon, because that's important if you want to keep watching content like this. And if y'all are feeling extra generous, then I've enabled the super thanks button, which I would also appreciate if y'all can afford it. So that's it for today. Actually, maybe let's just go through the tournament situation real quick for those of you who are interested in that. What's happening over there? So Chile now just got 1 point, won 4-1 convincingly, so over to Croatia. And well, RCP will be difficult to beat, but I think their main match will be with Hungary. If Chile manages to defeat Hungary now, they will all but guarantee a spot in the playoffs. So what's going for Slovakia? I think Slovakia will need to defeat Guatemala and Croatia and maybe Hungary to try and qualify for from the third spot. So this is something that they will need. I'm not sure if Slovakia played with Hungary already. I think they might. Yeah, I think this might have been the case, which will make the life of Slovakia much harder. But it is what it is. So certainly chances are looking great for Chile to clinch at least third place in the group. Now I think we should be done. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.